Madam Mayor, I want to send my condolences to you. My mom grew up in the neighboring community. I spent a ton of time in Highland Park when I was at Northwestern University. I have so many friends there, some of whom were among those who were affected by this. So our thoughts are certainly with you. I want to pick up on this conversation that I was having with Pete right now. And I guess at the end of the day, who is it that's responsible for raising the red flag in a situation like this when they see troubling behavior like they did for this suspect?
Who's responsible? We all are. Friends are, family members are. But at the end of the day, let's talk about the fact that in other nations around this world, there are people who post crazy videos, who have anger issues, who are mentally ill, and they aren't going out and committing mass carnage because they don't have access to weapons of war. So to me, it's a multi-pronged issue.
Yeah.
And I think at the end of the day, we need to talk about why we as a nation who theoretically were celebrating freedom yesterday are, as Emily said, now enslaved to guns. This is an absolute tragedy that came into our town.
Madam Mayor, we're going to hear from some other officials, yourself included, I suspect, in the next 30 minutes or so at a news conference. If you can give us a sense of what we should anticipate. Have charges now been prepared, or are we expected to learn that those have been filed?
I don't believe we are to that point. My understanding is there's an effort to get those achieved by this evening. If not, obviously, we have until tomorrow by law, and then that will be taken care of. But the team that has been here, ATF, the FBI, the Illinois State Police, and police from municipalities all across the region have just done an unbelievably admirable job, and we're so appreciative to their hard work.
So walk us through, for those that won't be able to join, what should we expect to hear in this news conference? What are some of the new details that you've learned since we last heard from you?
I believe that there is a plan to release the names of the deceased, and I don't know that there's going to be much more beyond that. The opportunity for us to come together as a community will be announcing more information regarding vigils. At this point, we are still just recovering from this fresh grief, this profound sadness. Yesterday, I think most people were just in shock and disbelief. Today, it has really set in, the pain that these families are going through, the pain that our entire community is feeling.
And if I can ask you about, we just learned within the last hour or so that a seventh individual had died as a result of their wounds there. Any more details about that person? Was it an adult or a child, or anything more you can share about that awful loss?
Until the coroner makes her announcement, it's not my position to say so. But suffice it to say that my husband was right there where it happened, and several of the witnesses recounted that based on the injuries that they saw, it would have been virtually impossible for people to recover. It was just pure devastation. People need to recognize these guns are absolutely meant to destroy human life. And again, I question national leadership's decision to allow these to continue to be in the United States.
So what do you say to those lawmakers? They just got as much done as seemingly they could get done with bipartisan support as it relates to gun safety laws. A lot of Democrats in particular say it wasn't far enough. Some Republicans say they went too far. What is your message to those where there's sort of this stasis, this inability to move beyond that?
The absolute heartbreak in terms of the stories that I've heard coming out of yesterday's event should be enough to motivate these people to do the right thing. So too should have the stories coming out of Uvalde. So too should have the stories coming out of Buffalo. I could list all those cities. I've heard from several of those mayors. We are at our wits' end. There is a handbook that is sent to mayors for them to know what to do after a mass shooting. It's 198 pages long, and I got calls from several mayors yesterday who said, we understand what you're going through. Here's the book on now what to do next. That's unbelievable. We are the United States of America, and we have a handbook on what to do following a mass shooting in your community.
Is the reason that Democrats in that state, obviously you have a Democratic governor, is there any new push, or would you be behind it for an assault weapons ban across the state of Illinois if it's not something that can be accomplished nationally?
So we banned assault weapons in 2013, and we managed to survive a litigation from the NRA all the way to the United States Supreme Court. When the governor was here yesterday, I shared with him proposed legislation that we've been trying to get passed since 2018 to remove state preemption in Illinois. And that's a great first step. I would love to see a statewide ban, but let's be honest, Indiana, Missouri, Wisconsin are all very close by.
Yeah.
People travel interstate all the time. It needs to be a national effort. There needs to be a desire on the part of our leadership to stop the carnage.
Highland Park Mayor Nancy Rotering will be watching your news conference a short time from now. We appreciate your making time for us today. Again, our thoughts with you and sending a lot of strength to the people of your community.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.